Now we will go on a scene with Ernest Tai, who has the interviewers with him who wants to say at this matter. Ernest?
Thanks, Emily. So, I'm on the scene where I'm close by the forest. The interviews who will go first, named Robert and Marguerite, the parents of the son. Delarabia. So Marguerite and Robert Delarabia, what would you like to say about these parents giving their kids a punishment day?
So, I heard about all this on the GNN America News, where those kids got in trouble and get themselves a punishment day. I would say that this is absolutely child abuse. The way how they did to them is absolutely unacceptable. I saw a gruesome moment with that girl named Dora Marquez was launched in the air with fireworks when her father, Cole Marquez, put the fireworks inside her mouth, and literally exploded. Her face was blown up so bad. Even worse, he and his wife and mother chainsawed her up, seriously injured her so bad, even she lost her eyes because of that. That was seriously cruel and very child abuse I ever saw in my life. These parents are seriously mentally ill.
Yeah. These people are just sick. I even saw that little boy named Caillou was pushed into the vent fan and got injured so bad by insane mother named Doris. I was so shocked. His sister also threw a pumpkin in his big brother's butt so hard. Literally hurt him so bad and caused him to crap his pants, and even his blood came out. What a horrible sister. I feel so heartbroken and feel really bad for that little boy and also the other children who abused by their insane parents. They need justice.
So Marguerite and Robert Delarabia, do you ever allow this under that to your son?
No, why would we? Odd is a good kid. If he got in trouble, then we would ground him, but not a punishment day like this. We would be in big trouble if we do that. We never will.
Yeah. Not ever. I hope these parents get arrested for child abuse and cruelty, murder and torture. We also like to see them in person in court if they are found. That's all we say.
Thank you Marguerite and Robert Delarabia for your time. Now we have the next interviewer, is a father of Jeremy Bell Plata, Michael. Michael Bell Plata, what would you like to say about these parents giving their kids a punishment day?
For my answer, I find this extremely outrage. Doing that is very torture and extremely cruel. I saw a very unsettling moment where that boy, little Bill Glover, was forced to go in the oven by his parents, Big Bill and Brenda, by burning him alive. Like what the hell? Are they like trying to cook him into human meat? That's horrific. At least he was okay. But then it got more worse by he was trying to take a shower, but his parents used poop to shower him to cool off. That is very disgusting. How the hell did they put poop in the shower? That's very gross. I can imagine how little Bill feels that he smells so bad. He did not deserve all this. Not even the other kids.
Michael Bell Plata, do you ever allow this under that to your son?
Absolutely not. My son is a very good child. He got straight A's at school, but not good at PE, but I understand he's not good at it. He never got in trouble. I would punish him if he does. But not like this one. Thankfully he doesn't. He a smart kid and already graduated from his school. I hope these parents get lockup. That's all.
Thank you Michael Bell Plata for your time. Now we have the next interviewers is Ulrich Stern's parents, Walter and Mrs. Stern. Now Walter and Mrs. Stern, what would you like to say about these parents giving their kids a punishment day?
For your question, I find this extremely atrocious and outrageous. Don't they realize that's a crime and they would be charged with cruelty and child abuse? That also counts as assault, torture, and murder. They can really be thrown in jail for the rest of their lives, or face death penalty for execution. I saw this little boy named Little Bill was chased by his family after destroying church with the weapon with him, and was trapped at a dead end and was killed by his family. And the worst of all that, they hanged his body up in the cross after they killed their son. This type of behavior is mocking the death of Jesus Christ, and is very offensive to every Christians in the world. I've never been so furious when this family did that. They're going to regret that soon when they die. That family are such psychopaths, freaks and child abusing criminals.
Agreed. I even saw that poor boy named Caillou was tortured by his dad, Boris. I've never been so ashamed of that man torturing his son. I feel very bad for that little boy, as even more worse and heartbreaking, Boris forced his son to kill his own cat named Gilbert. Has he lost his mind or what? What he did is animal cruelty. Does he realize he went too far for that? That made me so angry. I can feel that little boy Caillou is feeling upset. I understand he didn't want to kill his cat. But his psychopath father will make it worse if he doesn't do it. Screw him for that. That goes to his family and other child abusers.
Now Walter and Mrs. Stern, do you ever allow this and that to your son?
Hell no. We will never do that. I only scolded my son because of his poor grades he had in school. But gladly he catched up and graduated from there. Thank God I would never do that. Right now I'm proud of him when he plays against a team at soccer at school. And that makes me really proud of him. And I also really want to see this child abusing parents in person. So I can give them a lot of yelling and scolding them for the crimes they did to their children and treating them like hell. We're done with this interview. We're out.
Thank you Walter and Mrs. Stern for your time. Next, we have the Japanese parents of Hiroki Ishiyoma, Teko and Ekiko. Teko and Ekiko Ishiyoma, what would you like to say about these parents giving their kids a punishment day?
As if my answer, we find this very disgraceful, that type of the stuff to child and child abuse. I understand where kids can get in trouble, but doing that is just way too far. I saw this poor kid named Little Bill was being tortured by his family. One of the worst punishments I saw that Little Bill was forced to drink Tide Pods by their family. Tide Pods? Are they crazy or what? Tide Pods are very dangerous stuff that contains toxic and can get you very sick and ended up in surgery for weeks or months or possibly die. He could have ended up in a hospital for surgery or could have been killed thanks to his family. They ought to be ashamed of themselves for doing that to him. That's just way too far.
I agree with my husband. I even seen an embarrassing video of that poor girl named Dora Marquez, throwing a fit, shamed, and humiliated by her family along with people who were involved in her punishment day on social media. It got so many views and people find it funny? Like what the hell? That was not funny at all. I find this very heartbreaking and it breaks my heart to see Dora like that, especially with her injuries I saw. She did not deserve all this torture. This incident also happened on the day of her birthday. How heartbreaking. Punish on her birthday. I hope this video gets taken down. Those people on social media should be ashamed. That goes to her family and people who were involved in her punishment. They should be arrested for this. Dora Marquez need justice and also the abused children as well.
Teko and Ekiko Ishiyoma, do you ever allow this and that to your kids?
Never for the rest of our lives. We would be awful parents and be child abusers to them. They are really good kids. Yumi something gets in trouble when she comes home late. When she out with her boyfriend that long, possibly in trouble at school, we usually get worried about her, but not with the punishment like this. Hiroki is a good son. Can be a little troublemaker sometimes. He and Yumi don't get along that much, but still cared about each other. I hope these people were found and arrested. I also want to see them in person for what they did to their children. That's all we have to say for this interview.
Thanks Teko and Ekiko Ishiyoma for your time. And last but not least, the parents of our former classmate, William Dunbar. James and Mrs. Dunbar. James and Mrs. Dunbar. What would you like to say about these parents giving their kids a punishment day?
I find this stuff very unacceptable and child abuse. They should realize this type of behavior is getting out of hand and doing way too far. They can go to jail for life or execution. Not to mention I saw a disturbing moment where that girl named Dora Marquez was stabbed by her parents with a large glass crack piece to the stomach. That was very painful for her. Are they trying to kill her or what? They could have almost stabbed her to her guts, or even her chest. Using a broken glass is very sharp and dangerous. And can cut your finger.
I agree. I even saw a gross moment where Caillou was raped by his father Boris. Seriously? Was he thinking? He is such a prevent and pedophile to a youngest minor like that. He can get arrested for a sex crime and child abuse. That father sickened me. He can't do that to any children like that. Not even his son. He is such a pedophile. Hope Caillou is okay.
James and Mrs. Dunbar, do you ever allow this and that to your son?
We would never do that to our son. He's a good guy. Back then he had us worried that he hasn't called us for a few weeks, so me and my wife decided to visit our son at school. And began to believe that he wasn't our son. We were to go and call the authorities and running tests to see if he really was our son. However, he did convince us he has not been himself lately. He had us worried, but we're glad he's okay.
Yeah, and we officially did not punish him, but not like this one. We just wanted to make sure he's okay, and told us the truth that he's not himself. I hope these parents get locked up for good for what they did to their children. That's all we have to say. We are leaving now.
Thank you, James and Mrs. Dunbar, for your time. So that's all the interviews we have here of this area. Back to you, Emmeline.
Thank you, Ernest. We still have more interviews around, but we will head to the next scene with the protests in Caddick Street first.